everyone, and welcome to the weekend review with Beyond the Matches. The space is curated to talk about the psychological aspect of the game, along with summarizing the games weekly and talking about the impact of some of the players and some of the games in the course. We also have a special question and answer round where you get to ask us questions for the week and we answer them for you. So, before moving on to discussions, let's talk about the current standings of the teams in the IPL. As we know that this season has been pretty much interesting with 10 teams playing in a different format. So this time we have surprisingly MI and CSK at the bottom of the table who are yet to open their account for a win. We have Kolkata Knight Riders, Gujarat Titans, Royal Challengers Bangalore, and Lucknow Super Giants with 6 points each. We have Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings with 4 points each, and Delhi Capitals and Sunrisers Hyderabad with 2 points each. So, as we move on to discussing about the Tata IPL 2022, let's talk a little about how the games have been. With the new format coming in, we have seen that the teams have faced a lot of difference in how they approach to the games. Basically, understanding the team dynamics as the reshuffling at the auction has really costed some of the teams a lot more than the other teams. We have seen that the teams have not really quite gelled up with their strengths and weaknesses equally, causing them a little bit of trouble and a little bit of hindrance in their performance on the field. So, as we talk about understanding the importance of group dynamics, we have seen that when we work in our normal organizational settings or even in colleges and schools, we are put into different groups for different projects. So, when we work with different people, it is really important to look at the strengths, enhance the strengths, and then let the weaknesses be dealt with one at a time. Instead of focusing just on weaknesses and forgetting about the existence of the strength and not regrouping as needed for the task, we might just be stepping into the trap of failure. So this is something that the 18 matches that have happened so far has taught us that each team in their own way have either figured out how to enhance their strengths or they are still regrouping and figuring out what the best combination for their team is. So today, to join us in this conversation, we have Dhinesh Babu, Vedant Vashist, and Prakhar Sachdeo, who have been incredible part of Team Beyond the Matches. They have been the guest authors, and they are currently writing for Beyond the Matches. Dhinesh Babu is a software analyst and a cricket fanatic. He has been writing reviews for more than 4 websites, and he has also been guest on different cricket shows. He is a super fan of Rajasthan Royals and has been recognized as a super royal by the management of Rajasthan Royals. Vedant Vashist, as he says, he is an amateur runner in the morning, lawyer in the day, and sports writer by the night. Prakhar Sachdeo, on the other side, is a sports buff and has been live writing about sports for earning. He is a proud and a huge fan of Chennai Super Kings. So, before we move on to actually doing the analysis, let's talk about the 18 games, how it has been for the teams. So, my first question is for Vedant. Vedant, how do you feel has RCB and DC fared in this season of IPL if we compare to their last year's performances?
Like every season before where there's an auction, like team basically refigures and there is a core group. Like in the case of RCB particularly, like they have retained Virat Kohli and they had Mohammad Siraj with them. But this time around with Faf du Plessis as the captain, that they have bolstered their captaincy material, and plus with new buys like Hasaranga, which has been quite phenomenal other than the first match. He has been quite good. And with David Willey and Josh Hazelwood and Jason Behrendorff, particularly this season, out of the 15 seasons that we have witnessed, 14 seasons particularly, this RCB lineup is looking much more, comprehensive and experienced compared to the other 14. And with regards to Delhi Capitals, I feel like they did blunders in the auction. Like earlier attack, which used to comprise of Norkia, Rabada, Ashwin. This time around, we have Shardul Thakur, Mustafizur Rahman, and Norkia who's coming back from an injury. So it isn't like really the attack that we knew as DC fans. So we have been struggling with the batting front. David Warner was a good buy at the auctions at a cheap rate. but hasn't been successful. Like in the first match, we could see that he was rusty, like couldn't really play the shots, but which was expected of him. And that is it. Like, matlab, they will eventually get their balanced 11 as the game progresses. Still early stages. Like they have only played 4 matches. Hopefully, they will go get into top four, both the sides. Right.
Yeah, precisely. Like if you see the scorecard, we definitely know that the points table is quite evident of how DC and RCB have performed so far and what was expected out of them. So, which also says that auction really played a huge role in their whole core team being there and not being there. So, Dinesh, this brings me to my next question again about Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings. How do you feel the teams have fared in the 18 games this season? Like compared to their last performances, how they have been?
Both the teams have actually made a very strong point that they are in a compulsion or they are being forced to make a very strong point because last few years we have not seen much from these both teams. I mean, the last time that the Rajasthan Royals had been to playoff was around 2018, if I'm not wrong, under Ajinkya Rahane. And after that, it was a complete collapse. So, as much as I've interacted with the Royals management, it was quite evident that they just wanted to turn the tables and they just wanted to make it sound a different story, not just coming back again and again with the same flop show. So they just wanted to turn tables as much as I've conversed with the management and the owner himself. So Rajasthan Royals have actually done so well in the auction table. That's the first predominant point that I would like to mention here, because this time around, what Manoj Badale, the owner, had actually pointed out was rather than having a strong squad, they made sure that they've got a perfect 11 for the season. So they made sure that for every particular slot, they've got someone being picked. Say, for instance, if it could be the spin bowling slots, you cannot expect anyone better than Yuzvendra Chahal or Ravichandran Ashwin to that slot. So they've just sat back to every single batting position or bowling position. They were just so clear on what they wanted, and they picked those players in the auction. And what we see now is the reflection of what they've done successfully in the auction. Whereas, on the other hand, Punjab Kings, they've got a very experienced player, Mayank Agarwal, who has got a fair bit of experience with KL Rahul while playing for Punjab Kings, and they've got some good names under them. And yes, they've let go some of the players like KL Rahul and made sure they picked some good names in this auction. So Punjab Kings and Rajasthan Royals, they have been so much successful so far in this match. I mean, in this season, just because of the way they have planned their auction and the way they had actually picked the players successfully based on their plan and how they have executed. We are seeing some good results of that. Hopefully, that keeps going in the matches to come.
Definitely, we do want to see some new teams making to the top four and actually putting up a great challenge for the existing top teams. Um, Coming to Prakhar, getting you into the conversation here, what are your thoughts on how CSK and Kolkata Knight Riders have fared in their games so far? Like we have seen them perform in the last season, and if we compare them, it has been a total difference in their performance this year. So, how do you feel that has worked out for them?
Okay, so firstly about CSK, not had a disastrous start to the season. I guess Ian Bishop today, while doing the commentary, said that it is only for the second time since 2010 that CSK has lost 4 matches in a row. That shows the kind of consistency that the CSK teams of the past used to have, but this time they are struggling. There are multiple reasons to it. First of all, a new captain. Jadeja is still finding his feet as a captain of the team. I guess he doesn't have that much of captaincy experience, so he will take time to settle, and the team will take some more time to get into the vision of Jadeja, of how what Jadeja sees in what he expects out of the player. And Jadeja, the captain, the burden of captaincy has taken that X factor thing away from Jadeja. We are not seeing that free flowing Jadeja with the bat, with the ball, and also as a fielder. Like uh, more than anything, I want Jadeja as a fielder in any cricket team. So we haven't seen those kind of catches, and Dhoni is still looking like a de facto captain when Jadeja is out there on the outfield. Dhoni is the one who is making the bowling changes, talking to the bowlers and the fielders. So yeah, one of the reasons is get a new captaincy. Uh, the opener Rituraj Gaikwad struggling with the form, and that could be one the second season syndrome that players suffer from in leagues. Like he has been figured out by the bowlers. Last season was a brilliant season for him. He winning the orange cap, but this time bowlers are coming with a plan to get his wicket early. So and and one of another reasons for CSK's poor form is absence of Faf Duplessis. You cannot take away from the fact that Duplessis is an experienced T20 pro, a, a bri- even a brilliant fielder. So Jadeja and Faf Duplessis at long on and long off. That was actually three catches assured in every match. So we don't have Duplessis or either at backward point or at cover. So yeah, missing Duplessis, and Duplessis was hitting a peak. Like last year, he hit a peak. I guess it was one of his most productive season after Rituraj Gaikwad. He was the second highest run scorer. So absence of Rituraj Gaikwad, and then we don't have Deepak Chahar as our bowler. So most of the things are going wrong for CSK at the moment, and it will take time. I guess the ship has already sailed. Difficult to see them finish or put up a fight. And if they do, it would be if they do a Kolkata, like Kolkata had a horrible start, something to what CSK had is having this season, but they came back strong and they qualified for the final. But as of now, what things are, we have a few good players warming the bench, and I would love to see Hunger Kerkar. He had a excellent under 19 World Cup, but still he is not being given a chance in the playing 11. But yeah, he's one player that I, as a CSK fan, is looking for. So, but yeah, as a CSK fan, I have kind of given up hope for qualifying for the playoff for the team as of now. Maybe something good might happen. As far as KKR is concerned, they are turning out to be a big surprise package. And one of the reasons why I'm telling that it's a surprise package because they did not, they Shubman Gill walked away. Like one of the stars of Indian cricket, Shubman Gill walked away from KKR, and it felt like it would be a big blow for KKR. But somehow they have been able to sustain themselves and bringing in. And I had written one of the pieces, and I was pretty sure when I was thinking that who could replace Shubman Gill, and I was pretty sure that uh, uh, mm, uh, who's oh,
Shreyas Iyer?
Shreyas Iyer. Yeah, so I'm so sorry. So
That's okay.
Shreyas Iyer would come in because KKR would get a like for like replacement, like a batting, uh, a Indian batsman who could bat at top of the order, and Shreyas Iyer also has captaincy experience. And under Shreyas Iyer, KKR has done well, and they have some like really good bowling resources. Like Pat Cummins is still to show his colors. He has surprised everyone with that blazing 50. Pat Cummins is still to show his form in this season's IPL as a bowler, but they have good bowling backups as well. KKR is looking like a good, well-rounded team, and yeah, if the way they are playing, they have a chance. They can give other teams a run for their money, and I see them as a very good team uh, fighting for the top four spot.
Definitely. We have seen Shreyas Iyer lead Delhi Capitals, and now we see Shreyas Iyer leading Kolkata Knight Riders, and we have seen a big change in
Okay,
their
and that's
mindset right
today's
there.
match. And that's today's match. Shreyas Iyer takes on his former team. Today
Yeah.
we will see KKR versus Delhi Capitals.
Yes, definitely. So, also when we talk about different teams, I'll just add up on Mumbai Indians and Sunrisers Hyderabad, which have been left out in the discussion. Mumbai Indians fairly haven't really played well in their auctions, if I see it now, because they haven't been able to put their squad together so far. And it's really disheartening to see that five-time champions have not been able to put their playing 11 together. And if we see CSK is on the similar lines, and that actually keeps them off the running for the title. And if we talk about SRH, they had a pretty unsteady season last time. Just excuse the noise in the background. So they pretty much had a very difficult season with a lot of happening between the management and the players, change in a lot of thinking process and everything. And to see them actually put their best foot forward this time and winning the yesterday's match, last game that they played against CSK. So it is quite happening to see that they are kind of finding their form. We don't know yet if it's little too late or little too early for them, but it's good to see that they have been able to open their account. And we look forward to having Mumbai and Chennai also do the same in their further games. Now we talk about the two new teams, right? We have Gujarat Titans and Lucknow Super Giants, who have literally come up as surprises and given the run for their money to any team that they face. Especially Gujarat Titans have been in their form. So it's pretty exciting to see that the most of the thrillers have come from these two teams than the ones we expect to give us thrillers. So this IPL has been quite a pendulum of surprises and oh damn, this is just another game kind of a mindset. So moving on to talking about which teams have made impact, we pretty much know who has made how much impact so far in the 18 games. Let's talk about the players who have actually made some impact on uh, IPL. So, any players that you have in mind who have like actually stood up or have been like able to change the game for their own team? We'll start with you, Dinesh.
I've got a couple of players to mention, and one is Josh Butler. Not just because he just holds the orange cap as of now. It's not completed the reason. It's because of the fact that he is one of the senior player of his team. Because even Sanju Samson has not got that much international experience as much as Josh Butler has got, and even in the bowling department. I mean, whenever the bowlers were on their run up, Josh Butler used to walk to them and just give some useful tips for the bowler on what to do, because I mean all the tons and tons of experience that Josh Butler has got comes into play at this point of time. And that, putting that apart, that aside, Josh Butler has just got a responsibility in his shoulders that the Rajasthan Royals team, as everyone might be aware, has got a limited resource in terms of batting, because they just have six six recognized batsmen in their playing 11, and right from the seventh slot, the tail just starts immediately, and we cannot see big hitting ability from this particular tail. The reason why I'm just emphasizing at this particular point is that so this absence of batting depth puts a bigger responsibility to the batsman at the top order, which could actually turn out to be a burden for the top order or for the openers, which didn't turn out to be that way for Josh Butler. Rather, he made sure that right from the first ball till the very end, he just made sure that he carries his team on his shoulders, and rightly he did that as well. We got 100 from him. He just played till the 19th or the 20th over. And even in the last match, which was actually very tough, the runs were not flowing that easily. Even in that match, he made sure that he stayed from ball one to ball 20. Ball 120. I mean, the last over. So he made sure that these factors are actually well considered, and he made sure that the team doesn't have an immediate collapse. If it has to be a collapse, then it has to be in a way that he has to be dismissed, whereas he didn't allow that to happen that easily. So Josh Butler is actually a key man for Rajasthan Royals. He has just been the reason for what Rajasthan Royals have been in this season so far. And not just because he's an orange cap holder, but because of how he had risen up to the occasion and how he had taken the responsibility on his shoulders rather than being carried out on it as a burden. He just made sure that he carried the team on his shoulders, and that's the reason why I named him the key man of Rajasthan Royals. And another player that I could say is Badoni. No one can actually ignore this particular personality, Lucknow Super Giants. And if I could name, I mean, as much as the match that we have seen till date, Badoni is someone who has inspired me the most when it comes to the youngsters. It's not Riyan Parag, it's not Devdutt Padikkal, it's not Yashasvi Jaiswal, who were actually talked a lot about, but it's Badoni who has come out of blue. And even his stature, if you look, is not that, it doesn't look that gigantic or that confident. But the shots that he play, it would just silence any critic that anyone can impose on the Lucknow Super Giants itself, because he just comes, makes sure that he hits it long, and he just does his job without any flamboyance. I mean, for all these reasons, coming from nowhere, coming from out of blue, and the kind of performances that he has put, and the kind of impact that he has created on Lucknow Super Giants victory, I think Badoni is someone who's a key player for me as of now that I have seen.
Over to you, Vedant. Key players according to you.
Right. So basically, with the addition of two teams, I believe like we are seeing so many players like who wouldn't have got the opportunity when the eight teams were playing. Like the Dinesh mentioned, like Badoni is the example. Tilak Verma for that matter. Avinder Manohar, like crazy hitter coming at six. In the first match, the way he played in those five or six balls, proper cricketing shots, like it made noise in the ground. Plus, this time around, I'm feeling like T20, the way Punjab Kings have approached their team, like they have made sure and they have clearly stated that they will go bang, bang, bang in the whether the wicket falls or not. They have only one approach. So if that goes by the impact that Livingston has impact on the tournament for the Punjab Kings, like having a good strike rate of and above, like up to 200, and coming in, even though there are wickets falling down at the other end, he has made sure that the tempo goes and the morale is always high up for the team. Like in the previous match against the Gujarat Titans, he came in a situation when they were two down in the power play, and he started from the ball one, and the previous match itself also. Plus, one more player for me, Sunil Narayan. Like he has been in the tournament since like from 10 years now, and he has been consistently performing seasons after season. Even though the players have decoded him, he was banned from bowling. He came back, reshaped his actions and all that. And today in this season, he has an average of economy rate of 4.71, like the best of the lot in this season. And he has an impact on the middle, even though he's not picking up the wickets, right? But the pressure he builds and the Varun Chakravartis and the other players, they are able to reap that pressure and get wickets. So proper team cricket and proper team, man. These are two players I believe like old guards, but yeah, actually they are getting what they deserve. Like finally, people know what their reputation is about Livingston. And for Sunil, I basically rearguard 10 years, but yeah, that the way that he has renewed himself, like coming back from setbacks, making sure now also the players are uncomfortable facing him. And one more youngster which I would like to mention is Tilak Verma. Like with Mumbai Indians, certainly, they get players, but they don't generally get to play. But investing in Tilak Verma and making sure he plays four continuous matches and giving him a place in the middle order. Like getting into Mumbai's middle order is a big thing, I feel. And getting to play there and scoring runs when the top order is failing consistently. In the previous match against who were they playing? Uh, whichever team was it, he scored 61 with Surya Kumar Yadav. Like it showed that the man has character to play the game at the highest level with the fielding as well, quick, fast and young. So I believe like this guy has a future tendency to play for India. Certainly I feel so. Like also the way he scores and the way he behaves. It was my observation. People might assume it like they have their, but I feel like he's the exact version of what Surya Kumar Yadav is, only being a left-handed batsman. The way he plays, the way he runs, the way he carries himself, proper Surya Kumar Yadav. Yeah. For me, these are the four players. Like I feel like they have the greatest impact in this season until the 18th match.
Yeah, I would actually agree that Tilak Verma kind of resembles Suryakumar Yadav. And I think the commentary people will also agree to that because when in the last game against RCB, when they were playing and he was run out, and the commentator actually said that it was Suryakumar Yadav who was run out, but it was actually Tilak Verma. So it's not just the skill set and the qualities, it is actually the whole personality and the features that are actually resembling to Surya Kumar Yadav. So we hope that what Surya Kumar does, Tilak Verma also does for India. Prakhar, coming on to you, impact players according to you so far in the 18 games?
Yeah. So once the auction was done, just a bit of an anecdote. So my brother is a big RCB fan. So I still remember the day in February when auctions were happening. He was following the auctions, and he asked me, "Who is this spinner from Sri Lanka, Vanindu Hasaranga, that RCB has spent 10 crores, uh, uh, a gigantic amount of 10 crores to get him?" And there was such a crazy auction to between, I guess, SRH, Punjab Kings, and RCB to get the services of Hasaranga. And I said, believe me, if RCB has been able to take Hasaranga, so you have actually hit a jackpot. And yes, I am really thrilled to see Hasaranga performing so well in IPL. Let's be frank, he is a spinner, but he seems he sees himself in the mold of Sunil Narayan or Rashid Khan, not pursuing a career in Test cricket, but traveling around the world and playing in the biggest of T20 leagues. And yes, he's just in his 20s, and uh, he came as a late replacement for RCB last season when the season restarted, but RCB did not could not utilize him well, and he did not get that much of time to settle in and get that much of that many matches. But now RCB know that they have hit a jackpot. They have actually got a reply to Sunil Narayan. They have we will see Hasaranga playing for next 4, 5, 6 years in the league, and you can take my word for it. He will be giving other bowlers a tough fight for that purple cap, and maybe by then, and we are just into 70 we are just into the 20th match. The pitches have still not dried up. The pitches will dry up as we move more into the summers. The pitches will start drying up. It will start helping the spinners more. I guess as of now, the top five wicket takers, four are spinners. So we are already seeing spinners getting the benefit, and Hasaranga will also be one of those players who could win the purple cap. So I'm very excited to see Hasaranga as a spinner, and he has still not batted. Remember, he played a really good inning for Sri Lanka in last year's T20 World Cup, where Sri Lanka was in a very dicey situation. So yeah, he's a very big hitter of the bat, like a ball as well. So one of the players that I'm really thrilled about is Hasaranga. The second player uh, I, I'm really happy is SRS Umran Malik. And let's be very frank, he has not tasted success, but we have, and he won't taste that much of. This is my understanding. He won't taste that much of success as a T20 player because the pace at which he bowls. He I see him as a test bowler for India. Uh, I hope the Indian bowling lineup is jam packed as of now. But the pace at which he bowls, he gives the international fast bowlers a tough fight. So thrilled to see Umran Malik touching 150, 154 speeds, and yeah, excited to and thrilled to see Umran Malik in as one of the upcoming Indian players. And it would be good if he picks a few more wickets and be in the contention of the purple cap. So these are the two players that I am very excited about.
Interesting, like pretty good choices of players. It's quite interesting to see that the youngsters are making a go, as well as the veterans of the game are also coming into picture as the impact players. So let's move on to our last section of the weekend rewind, that is the question answer session. We have some really interesting questions coming our way. So we have Hardik on Instagram asking us that how would yesterday's match will impact Punjab Kings mentality, like the last match that Punjab played against Rajasthan. If I'm not wrong, I no, I think I it was Punjab against
That
Gujarat
was
Titans.
Gujarat
Gujarat
Titans.
Titans.
Titans,
Gujarat
Gujarat
Titans
Titans.
Yeah.
happens. Rahul Tewatia is obviously seen uh,
Yes,
doing the
still doing the
Tewatia
Rajasthan Royals
things.
thing.
Yeah, doing the Tewatia things against Punjab. So especially Odin Smith and that extra overthrow. I think pressure gets the best out of everyone and the worst out of everyone when it comes to playing in crunch situations when you are defending less totals and with less balls. You really don't want them to win. With two balls remaining, 12 runs to get, no one expected Tewatia to pull up a Tewatia again. We might see it in hindsight that it was against a West Indies bowler. We might see it again against Punjab Kings. But if you see the mindset that Rahul Tewatia presents and the mindset that the bowler needs to present are quite different. The bowler needs to hold the nerve much more stronger than giving into the pressure. That is, the overthrows are something that happens. It's a very genuine mistake that happens when you're playing in a crunch situation. It can happen from the best of the players. So we don't have to take the overthrow as something that did not go well. It was not pitching the next two balls very correctly, giving it in the arc for Rahul Tewatia to actually hit it out of the park. So that is something that the bowler can actually think about and work on instead of taking the pressure of, okay, maybe because of me, the match did not go well. It could have been any other player who could not have, because if Rahul was in form, he was out there, he's going to take up on any of the bowlers for his team. So I think it will affect Punjab Kings, but not so majorly if it is taken in the right perspective. Moving on to the next question, we have Cricket Field Chronicles on Instagram asking how to overcome the dew problem in night games, particularly in the T20 format. Vedant, would you like to take this question?
Like dew has been a factor in this season. Like, basically whoever wins the toss, in at only two stadiums, basically Wankhede and Bravan, have been facing the dew problem. So the toss has become a major crucial factor, wherein every team who happens to win the toss, they choose to bowl first, and particularly and compares comparatively, it is much easier to play the second innings when the dew is out rather than to play in the second inning and then have to bowl and defend the total. So BCCI did use a certain chemical agent, I'm assuming Oxide 80, against one of the matches where CSK was playing. Plus, as we were talking before the start started, Prakhar mentioned that we can start the matches a little bit early, like half an hour early, like at 7 p.m. Gives you a 30-minute window wherein a team can actually help or can take advantage of the pitch. Also, the strategic timeout that we have, like 5 minutes break total, can be cut short into 3 minutes, like 1.5 and 1.5 minutes. That can be a factor. Other than that, I don't think like this season particularly, like we can't switch technical logistically, we can't switch matches from the Mumbai. So teams have to prepare themselves to be able to play with dew as a factor. I don't think, yeah, that is it from my side.
All right. So we have next question for Dinesh from Jitendra on Twitter. He is asking why Wade is still not being able to perform to his best.
Typical problems of Australians, I would say, because the way Wade is actually playing reminds me of someone who was a BBL star who just was picked for Rajasthan Royals based on the BBL reputation, and that was Darcy Short, if you could remember. Some 2 or 3 years back, Darcy Short was actually a BBL star, and he was actually taken to the team. And what happened was he failed to adapt to the Indian subcontinental conditions, where he was just playing the horizontal bat shots, where he just needed to play the straight bat shots. So, I mean, it's new condition, new situation, new circumstances for Matthew Wade. All he needs to do is to quickly adapt to the situation, and if he is not able to manage that, all he can do is to spend some more time in the crease for around 6 or 7 overs, so he gets to know the pitch very well, just as how Josh Butler does. He keeps quiet for around 6 or 7 overs, knows the situation well, analyzes the pitch and conditions, and just go flourishing at the bowlers. So he's predominantly not an opener. So all he needs to do is just to take some time, just to spend some time, analyze the condition, and know about the pitch, and just go big as time goes on, rather than him playing those cheeky shots, playing those lap shots and scoop shots very early in the game. He could just wait, take turns, and then go big at the bowlers.
Yeah,
Also,
definitely.
adding to
Yeah.
Dinesh's point, Wade is being played a bit out of position for Australia T20 team. He kind of bats lower down the order, but Gujarat
Hmm.
Titans is making him open, and he kind of feels a bit out of place. So that could also be a reason why maybe he comes lower down the order and plays a finishing role. We might be able to see a bit of a better side of Wade.
Definitely. Role specification does play an important role in how the player is going to perform, which brings us to our last question by Aviral Rai on Twitter, who says that what are the main reasons behind below par performances of champion sides like MI and CSK? I think Prakhar has pretty much summed it up in his analysis of the team in the beginning, Aviral. So you can,
I would
uh,
just like to add
yeah.
one point that
Hmm.
CSK don't have a proper out and out T20 player. Like we don't have a Liam Livingston, we don't have a Hasranga, we don't have a Josh Butler, or
Hmm.
we don't have a Ayush Badoni, or
Yeah.
we don't have Rahul Tewatias. We used to have in Ravindra Jadeja, but captaincy is affecting him, and he's not able to give his best as an out and out T20 player. So yes, we are still searching for a good T20 player who could perform multiple roles.
Definitely. So I think, Aviral, that should actually answer your question about CSK. Coming to MI, I feel the only reason why they are not being able to perform to their best is they're not really working on the strength of the players. They are going by the choices they are making for the playing 11. They really need to see the opposition team, the pitch, and actually select players based on that and their strengths, what the players are known for. We have so many players on the bench who can actually be on the field and actually make the change. So maybe reshuffling is needed for MI to actually go to their performance because they have the resources, they just don't know how they're going to use it to their max. So this brings us to the conclusion of our first weekly rewind of the season. Thank you so much, Dinesh, Vedant, and Prakhar, for joining tonight and actually giving us beautiful insights on the game so far. So we will see you guys on next weekend where we'll discuss further. If you have any other questions, you can send it us on Twitter or Instagram, ask with the hashtag AskBTM, and we will include them in our session that is happening on the next weekend. Thank you so much, guys.